Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the My Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here with another episode. Wednesday episode sponsored by Gray Fox Games, as always.
Woo.
Woo, woo.
You don't have to listen to it on a Wednesday.
No.
But it comes out on Wednesdays.
This is correct. That is
Almost every Wednesday.
Have we ever released not on a Wednesday before?
Yeah, literally like 2 weeks ago.
Well, I think Jeff meant, like, have we released on a day other than Wednesday?
Oh.
In which case, literally every Friday. But
Well,
those aren't
yeah.
the Banter episodes.
Yeah, like with these episodes.
No.
No.
If they happen, it's on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe way back. I don't remember if we always started with, like, we're releasing on
When
Wednesday.
we did
And then any of the Gen Con shit as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are specials, though.
Yeah.
Like our core episode. Always in the middle, dead center of the
I mean,
week.
our episodes that actually have the word episode in them.
You can set your watch by it within
That's
within 24 hours.
That is
of
that is a very big watch.
Don't set your watch by our episode releases. If you want to be on time for anything.
No.
Much like our episodes.
Yes.
Correct. So let's go ahead and get this, like, little 15-minute conversation out of the way. We all went and saw Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
Yes, the new animated one. Holy shit, it was really good.
If you're within earshot of this, immediately drag you and one other person to go see this movie.
100%.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
Go
It's-
to the movies.
If you know anyone who's a Spider-Man fan and hasn't already seen it, you need to berate them.
Yes.
I can honestly say I've been really trying to think, like, since we saw it, what the last movie that made me laugh that hard was, and I've got nothing.
Oh no,
There's no such thing as comedies anymore
Yeah,
that aren't just dumb.
right.
So this was refreshing.
Like, maybe the first time I saw The Other Guys, but that movie came out like 6 years ago.
Probably more than that.
Yeah,
Probably.
Let's go to the Googler.
Googler. Yeah, because I know I saw it in Georgia when I lived there. So
Oof.
2010.
Jesus, 8 years ago.
Yep.
Oh, man.
And I have never seen it.
God damn it, Jeff. Quit being a garbage person. Go
Well, that
watch
was
The
probably
Other
the
Guys.
last good-ish comedy that has come out.
And it went way under the radar.
Yeah.
Like, it is hilarious.
Of that
But-
style.
Of that style.
Of the Adam McKay comedies.
Yeah.
Last great Adam McKay comedy?
Maybe.
I don't remember what he made
I
after that.
Yeah, I don't
But
either.
I mean,
Neither do I.
I know that he made The Big Short, which was a great movie and not necessarily a comedy, a tragedy, really.
I mean, parts of The Other Guys tie into that too. Yeah.
Oh, he did Ant-Man.
Anchorman 2 The Legend?
Anna McKay, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well, that's,
campaign was okay in 2012.
He wrote Ant-Man.
Yeah,
I
he
should
wrote
say.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say Peyton Reed, I think, directed it after Edgar Wright left.
But anyway, Into the
Mhm.
Spider-Verse.
Oh,
Really good.
so good.
I am not really, like, a huge fan of Spider-Man. Like, I that was never a comic I got into. I was never really super into comics. Basically, like, a little bit of X-Men and specifically Wolverine stuff.
As it was literally everyone.
But I didn't get into anything else.
Yeah.
I didn't read
That's why
comic books.
Wolverine was the most popular. Everyone
Yes.
just liked Wolverine stuff. And that was it.
But I have really enjoyed a lot of the Spider-Man movies, like everybody else did when the first, Tobey Maguire ones came out until the third one, which was weird.
Which there was a very specific reference to that movie
Yeah.
in this movie.
It was great.
There was also the Amazing Spider-Man movies that came after. There was another reference to that in that flashback
Yes.
where he's holding the two buses off.
Mhm.
That's from the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, well, they're just, referencing
Basically
many
all
of
the old
things.
Spider-Man, all the 5 other Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Not the new, what's his name? Holland?
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
But as I say, I like the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man, the
Yeah.
first one. Then the second one got weird.
Yep.
And then I really liked the Tom Holland one, and I'm hoping it doesn't get weird. And then I really liked Into the
Technically,
Spider-Verse.
Venom has come out and got weird, but it's still not.
It's still its own thing.
Yeah.
It was, which is what was immediately weird about it, is like, why does Venom look like Spider-Man if the symbiote's never met
I
Spider-Man?
think like the Ultimate Universe version had a lot to do with why that happened like that, but meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I've really liked Spider-Man in the movies, and so
Yeah.
is, but I didn't know any of the backstory. And we went to Alamo, as we always do,
Yes.
and they do the awesome pre-shows where they did like backstory where they like talked about the first appearance of all the different spider
People.
people in the movie, and like where they appeared and what their backstory is a little bit. And I love that because it's nice to be able to catch up.
Yeah.
Megan likes it when they do it for like the Avengers, where they catch her up on all the Marvel movies that she didn't watch between me dragging her to all of the Avengers. But they did that, and that was cool. And then like actually getting to see it all come together in the movie, I thought they did a really great job with it.
Nicolas Cage's best movie in quite some time, not counting Mandy, which I heard was also very good.
But really weird.
I cannot throw the title good on Mandy. Different, strange, trippy as balls. Sure. Good. I don't know.
I've heard people say good.
I've heard a lot of people say good. I don't know if I can agree.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the only one that has any decent opinion on it.
I've got it on Vudu, and I watched it, and man, it's fucking.
But
it's weird.
What's your opinion on Face Off?
Face Off is so we were talking about this in the condo.
Yes.
Jeff,
We were talking about this specific thing about Nicolas Cage's like best-ish movie in a while.
Yeah.
And then Face Off is about to come off Netflix on January 1st. So watch it while
like
you
2
can.
weeks left to watch Face Off.
Yes.
But so Megan, so Jeff was talking about like how Aunt had forbid him from watching it with
Julie from watching
until the Aunt could watch it with her.
And me.
And you. And Megan had like already kind of crawled into the air mattress we had set up in the living room because the condo was packed. And she was like, "What's Face Off about?" And it was like, "Wait, you haven't seen it either?" She's like, "No." She's like, "Is it good?" And Jeff goes, "No, yeah."
No. The opposite. I was like, yo.
Whichever it was like, that's the perfect way to describe it. Like, no, but at the same time, yes.
Yeah.
It's super John Woo.
It is very John Woo. There are some white ass doves in a church.
I like ish Face Off for what it is. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's over the top.
It's ridiculous Nicolas Cage.
It's stupid, but it's good.
Much like Nicolas Cage in Into the Spiderverse.
Mhm.
Yes. So
Yeah, his Spider-Man Noir was quite good.
Yeah. Something I read online that they were that he was like, "Do you ever burn a match down to your fingers so you can actually feel something?" During that scene, the match actually never hits his fingers, and you can hear an audible awe as it goes out before it hits his fingers.
Nice.
But yeah, it is just absolutely fantastic.
They took a lot from the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, well, that's
this
that's
one.
that's
That's
where
what
Miles
is
is
from.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about his origin in that, you can probably piece together what happens in this.
Mhm.
But then they throw in the whole Spider-Verse thing, which is a comic book arc that happened in the last couple of years that was extremely popular and I
Yeah.
heard was pretty decent, but I never read.
Yeah. So we all really liked it.
Mhm.
It
and
birthed-
the animation was amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
The animation and the sounds and
Everything.
Yeah.
The sound was amazing. The animation initially I didn't super like. Like the like comic book-esque art style didn't super get me initially, but then as the movie went on, I just totally got
Because
sucked in.
it looked like an animated comic book more than
Yeah.
something that would be grounded and relatable. They were like, fuck that.
No.
Kingpin, crazy, unrealistic. No way a human can look like that.
Yeah.
But super cool.
Yes.
And then there was like all the villains that you could see on like one of the walls when he was trying to draw together like the Kingpin thing. And it was all these crazy villains from the comic books that like, holy shit, why is like Hammerhead in here?
Right.
Also, I don't think they ever said Tombstone's name in the whole movie. You just had to know who he was.
Yes.
That was the guy that was all gray.
Yeah.
Like, they never said Tombstone
Yeah.
once, I don't think.
Yeah, I
That's-
definitely had no idea who that
yeah.
was.
Indestructible skin.
Yep.
Really good though. I'm probably gonna try and drag Megan to it sometime this week or next weekend.
Yeah.
Or this upcoming
I'm
weekend.
sure I'm going to see it at least once more.
But yeah, go watch it. Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
Yep. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, another hit on their hands.
Yeah. Crushed it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's going to make a bunch of money.
I don't think. I mean, I saw. I want to say it made like 40 million over the weekend.
Okay.
And I was disappointed at that.
35.5.
I mean, I feel like it needs to be making a lot more than that.
Yeah, for sure. Still number one.
Yep.
But now Aquaman's going to be coming out.
Mm-hmm. And even if that one's good, it'd still be disappointing that it's gonna make. I know it's just gonna make more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard it's okay.
I've heard people have enjoyed it,
Yes.
but yes,
But I mean, people enjoyed lots of terrible movies that I don't enjoy.
yeah, like Waterworld.
Waterworld's so good.
I
Love Waterworld.
mean, he's allowed to like bad things, Jeff.
That's true.
Give him.
He likes 18XX, so.
You can talk shit about 18XX when you've played it, Jeff.
I mean, and I'll say it in the Slack. I said it in the Slack, and I'll say it here. If Jeff actually does play 18X and generally likes it, a little bit of my soul's gonna die.
I don't think I could play anything like that for 4 hours and enjoy it.
How about 10 hours?
Yeah, it was too short, right, Jeff? That was your problem.
That was the problem. That was the problem.
You need more time to get used to it.
Yeah.
You know, about hour 8, it's just like, this is life now. Life has always been this way.
I know nothing else that has
That
ever
must be
existed.
that must be why people are so happy when they're done playing it. It's
Yeah.
because they're like,
I love 18XX when it's done.
yeah, I can actually experience life again. Everything is so colorful and everything looks so well made in the real world.
But you know what my game replacement is for anything like up to that 10 hours? Like literally anything else.
What's that?
Like TI4.
Yeah.
If anything's going to play that long, I'm just going to play TI4.
Yeah.
TI4 has replaced all games that run over 4 hours.
Anyway, speaking of games, unless you guys have anything else that you got up to besides watching Spider-Man that you want to talk about before we move into what we've been playing.
I felt like watching another superhero movie with a guy in a red suit making quips. So I watched Deadpool. And then I got halfway through Deadpool 2, and then it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I was like, I need to go to sleep. So I'm halfway through that. But
I've heard that new Deadpool PG-13 version is not good or not getting very good ratings.
I mean,
at all.
it's Deadpool, like it, from what I've heard, probably the same thing that you did. It's just I mean, Deadpool like needs to this Deadpool needs to be rated R, and even if you're poking fun at it, it's still not
quite the same.
Not quite the same. So
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
although I'd heard that the scenes between Fred Savage and Deadpool were good.
That's cool.
But
I really, really hate that they had the trailer they had with the whole Nickelback defense, because that's all anybody's like. Well, not like it happened one time in Slack where somebody posted that, and then everybody shit on me for allegedly liking Nickelback.
Yes. We're not on an innocent until proven guilty on Nickelback loving here.
yeah, this is the court of public opinion, sir.
It's as soon as Jeff says it's true, if it seems bad, we'll believe it.
Yeah.
If it's something we can make fun of Adrian for, we'll believe it 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
You brought it on yourself.
Son of a bitch.
You bought a Nickelback album at some point.
More than one.
No more questions.
Why do
Case closed.
Why do I do these things to
Yeah.
myself?
We went snowboarding.
We went snowboarding, yes.
It didn't snow, but
We didn't go together.
No.
You were up there before me.
Yeah, it was my first time up for the year. I fall one way now, which is on my shoulder, which whips my head over my shoulder and cracks my neck a bunch. But I haven't broken a collarbone, I guess, so that's good.
Yeah. You, because you had messaged, you were like, first run successful. I didn't
First
fall
run of the
once.
season, I went down scout, didn't fall, and I was like, all right, I can do this. And then I went down school marm, and I think I fell like once, but it wasn't very hard. It was just sort of like plopped over, and made it all the way down that. And then like later, I went down towards Outback and fell on like the flat area down there, and that super sucked.
Yes.
Caught hard, real hard. But otherwise,
Some of my worst wipeouts have been when I've hit a flat and I'm trying to maintain speed, so I'm trying to ride as flat and not on an edge as possible, and then I catch an edge and I'm just like, boom,
boom,
done.
yeah, does not feel good.
Yeah, Megan and I got up there later that night, so we hung out for a little bit before you and Julie both separately headed back to Denver.
Yep. Julie was up there for like 6 hours total.
Yeah. She borrowed my snowboard for some riding, or at least she asked if she could. I don't know if she actually went and rode. I assume she
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then Megan and I went. The next day was Megan's first day up, my second day. Had really a pretty solid day. Kind of played all over the mountain. Chatted up some cool people on the ski lifts and just screwed around. It was nice.
Yeah.
Got to sit in a hot tub. Hot tubs are great.
I haven't done the hot tub yet.
Got to do the hot tub.
I forget to bring my swim trunks.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Snowboarding has begun.
It has. Back in full force.
I'm just glad you're able to actually use your thing before the end of the year. Because
Yeah.
I know you said this was pretty much your only chance.
Yeah, this last weekend was the only time I could get up all month, and then
And you weren't there last month, so
no November. The one time I only went up one time in November last year, anyways.
Oh, okay.
So, but I was much less rusty than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's like riding a bicycle, man.
Yeah, let's get back on there.
Real quick before we move on to what we've been playing, because we haven't done it in a long, long time. Let's talk about what we've been drinking, or what we are drinking. And I'm only doing this because I finally got my hands on some good Michigan beer that's now in Colorado. So I'm about to open a Founders All Day IPA. Very excited for it. Nice little session IPA.
Yeah, I forgot Founders was coming out here.
Yeah, 15 packs for like $20 at the local liquor store.
Yeah. Bell's is out here finally, which is good.
Yep, they had some Bells, but they had like 6 packs that were like $16. I was like,
Eh.
I barely have any income right now. I'm going to go for the cheaper of the good beers.
Yeah.
Zach, do you want to talk about what you're drinking since you're the only one else really drinking?
Not really. It's not worth talking about.
Fair enough.
It's on 13.
Yeah. It's some sort of golden ale, but it's meh.
It's got a cool label.
Meh.
The label is better than the beer. I'd give it that. Yeah.
All right.
I haven't done that in a while because aside from me just slamming back Escape IPAs nonstop, I haven't been drinking as much on the show.
Yeah. Besides the
Sober Mile High Game, guys. What have we come to?
2 of the 3.
I got to pick up the slack for you guys.
It's true.
For every beer you don't drink, I have to drink an extra one.
Has to.
Absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on to what we've been playing.
That doesn't sound like alcoholism at all.
2018's been a rough year, all right?
I was here too.
Zach, what have you been playing?
Let's see. On Tuesday, Jeff and I finally got a chance to try. Well, I got my Kickstarter copies of Duelosaur Island and the Dinosaur Island expansion. Totally Liquid.
Total Liquid?
Totally Liquid.
Totally Liquid.
Yes.
Which is aquatic dinosaurs?
Yes, and
Okay.
I opened that thing up, and there is. I'm not gonna be able to put that in the base box. There's so much shit in there. It's ridiculous.
I mean, your base box already didn't have any room.
I understand that. I just want to go ahead and put that out on the record.
One dinosaur meeple.
Yeah.
You would not have been able to fit it in the original box.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But they just sent it has a shitload of stuff in there. I haven't had a chance to try that out yet, but I want to at some point.
I'd be down for that.
But we tried a 2-player version, 2-player game of Duelosaur Island.
Because it is also a solo game.
It's also technically a solo game, yeah. But once again, it keeps the Dinosaur Island tradition of, even though it's just a 2-player game, it still has 4 boards.
Jesus.
That's 4 boards, and you're tucking cards underneath the top and bottom of the board, and you're putting cards to the right of the board, and then and their other spot. So it still takes up less space, but it still takes up a lot of space.
Yes.
Does it only technically take up less space because there's only 2 people instead of 3 or 4?
You don't have your main board is smaller because it's only the DNA and the security tracker.
Okay.
And you don't have a player board where you put all of your...
You don't have the part.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's sort of solved by the tucking on the top and bottom, which is your park.
Yes.
And then there's the score trackers.
Yeah.
And then the dice drafting / like pool of cards that you can purchase from.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one has it only has like 4 rounds this time, I think, or 4 phases. The drafting phase, or technically the drawing phase, income phase, which gives you cards and money, because cards are dual purpose. They have dinosaurs on top and attractions on the bottom.
Yep.
And you can only use one of them.
And there's 3 different types of attractions, like food, merch, and rides.
And then you have the 3 different levels of dinosaurs too.
Yep.
So yeah, they're pretty similar. But then the main part of the game is the drafting phase, I would say, because you are rolling, because it comes with 8. It came with 8 dice, but 2 got added from the Kickstarter stuff. You throw it in a bag. They're all unique, just like the Dinosaur Island dice. And then you draw 5 of them up, and then you roll them. And then whoever rolled them will then determine where they go in the drafting order, because there are a bunch of plot twists because Dinosaur Island had plot twists, but that was always like, here's how the game works differently this time. This one, it's
and the kind of timer, right?
Yeah. These are things that get attached to dice that are basically, it's like, oh, you can get this, the 2 blue basic DNA, and then it'll also let you get $1 and another basic or a card or something like that. But you get to choose where it goes on that order, and then there's only 4 of the plot twists, so there's one that doesn't have anything on it, and usually you say that for, oh, that's something I know he wants, or something like that. But then after you decide what plot twist gets matched up with each dice, or each die, then the second player gets to draw or gets to pick first. So it's, I split, you choose sort of thing.
Yep. The plot twists were sort of meh.
Yeah, there are a lot of them in that box.
Yes.
So
15?
something like that, and you only use 4 at a time for the entire game.
Yeah, they don't change out.
They don't change out. You grab 4, and that's all you're using. And then, you just draft, because you're drafting the dice and specialists. There are 2 specialists that come out at the same time.
And cards.
Huh?
Because you can draft all 3, right? The park cards, the specialists, and the dice.
No, the park.
Oh, that's right. The park cards only come. You can get
in the
them
income phase
or you can get them from some of the plot twists.
Yes,
is what it is.
Yeah. But usually draw them from the income phase.
Mm-hmm.
And there are different
it just so
attractions.
happened most of ours had cards available.
Yes, that is very true. Because most of the attractions, some give you more money during the income phase, some give you more cards during the income phase. But you can only have 3 specialists, and they give you special powers and stuff like that. But then
you can discard them and just get a one-time thing.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
they suck.
Yeah, and or you don't want your opponent to have it.
Yeah.
But there is after everybody drafts, or each of you drafts 3 times, then whatever one's left, that gives you your temporary threat for the round, so that still is over.
Yep.
And then it's simultaneously you're building your part. You're building dinosaurs.
There was the little news thing.
The PR thing.
PR thing.
That's at the end of the round.
Okay.
You're simultaneously building your park through the attractions and the dinosaurs, and then security and stuff like that. It worked fairly similar. Like you don't have any workers as a place. It's just money. You're just using money and DNA to do these things, and the fact that your cards, like, you can only build from the cards you have in your hands, and you can only build either a dinosaur or an attraction. And so after you do that, you check the threat, and then anybody whose threat is higher than their security level, they lose visitors from getting eaten. So that still tracks as in this, although it's 2 times as many in this one versus the single for Dinosaur Island. Visitors are basically victory points in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so at the end, so you lose some visitors, but then you're going to gain based on whatever your excitement level is.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to actually
a couple people get eaten, but
yeah,
a lot more people are excited about it.
Exactly. Everyone's like, yeah,
it's part of the attraction.
Yeah. And then if you ever would go down to 1, or if you go down to like 1 point, and then you'd have to lose another point, you get a lawsuit instead, which is -5 points at the end of the game. So you don't want that to happen.
No. But that's pretty hard to happen unless you're in the pretty early game.
Exactly. And then the last thing was the PR phase, which you were talking about.
Yep.
And that's there's a tracker that is always moving to the right, and then it's whoever had the least amount of excitement would get to choose anything that's to the left of wherever the PR tracker is. That'll give you bonuses, basically, DNA, cards, money, etc.
Tons of different stuff.
Yeah. And then the interesting thing was that the whoever had the most excitement could then choose something after the first, that first person, but after they could only choose something that was to the left of where they chose. So if they chose the leftmost thing, which is just a basic DNA, then the other person doesn't get anything. So,
but there's no real advantage to just choosing the one basic DNA. I guess. I always chose I got that option, the first option, almost the whole game.
The only things I could say is if I know that you wanted advanced DNA, like maybe choosing the farthest leftmost one that has advanced on it. But yeah, for the most part, it was just like,
this is clearly a really good
this
option.
is the best one, so I might as well take it. It also was annoying that you got that every single fucking time.
Yeah, it's because you just had one more excitement than pretty much the whole game.
Yeah. I tried to have a better park, and that just kept fucking me over. But then you keep going until you reach a visitor limit.
So short, medium, long, it's like 25, 35, 45 points.
Yeah, so we did 35, and then once somebody hits that, then you just count up points, and then whoever has the most wins. You won by 1 point, I believe.
Yep, I did.
The real fucker. It's all of those.
And that's when I forgot, or that's because I forgot that you get points for sets of attractions.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I had none.
No, but you had something that you were going for a different thing. That ended up getting
I had a chef that gave me points based on food, and I had 7 points in the food.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I did feel it felt similar but different than Dinosaur Island, but I felt like you were losing something with not having the actual physical park you were building and with the dinosaurs, and because not only you would build a dinosaur and then you'd have to upgrade the enclosures and stuff and shit like that. Whereas this, it's just you build a card and it's just tucked. You're like, all right, I got another one of whatever these are. And unless you had a card that specifically referenced whatever kind of dinosaurs you had.
Which came up.
There was like one or two I
Yeah.
saw, but for the most part, it was just anytime, it was like we cared about symbols on the attractions, and then you just cared about having dinosaurs up top, but you didn't care about your park itself. It just became so like it got abstracted away too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think they should have abstracted a little more to make it a real 2-player version, because it still played pretty long. And from what I'm expecting from like games like this, it was still.
Well, it played about an hour, I think, which is which is sort of where it was going for. Like, I think it was wanting to be 30 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas Dinosaur Island was like 90 to 120 minutes
or more.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on a variety of things.
I guess I was expecting less.
You're expecting it to be quicker.
Yeah. But I mean, at this point, it's just play Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give it some more plays to see if I still feel that way or not. I mean, it's definitely like even though we were saying how big it is, it's definitely much less annoying to drag around than Dinosaur Island.
No,
especially
coins.
It didn't have the 5 pounds of metal coins.
Yeah.
So
pure lead.
Yeah.
Only the finest lead for Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that thing being X-rayed. So
exactly,
let's get the nice lead coins.
Yes.
So yeah, I played that. Did some cribbage. I lost at that, I think, but enjoyed it. What else did we play, Jeff? I know.
Well, you played QE.
Yes, QE. Last week I had asked Mike to bring it because you and Mike had originally talked it up when you played with Mike,
right?
And so the Kickstarter is going on, and I'm like, well, I want to back it. Let me try it out. And then he ended up having to leave early, so I didn't get a chance to try it.
Yeah. You were crushed.
Yeah, and so I was able to try it on Wednesday, which like gave me like 48 hours or something to spare on it. But
what do you think?
We played 3-player, which I can already tell it's a game like Ponzi scheme that you want more players.
Yes, I would agree.
But it was a lot. I enjoyed it. I'm really glad I'm not going in on the wooden version. It has a homemade feel in all the ways that implies.
Yeah, it's not a wooden version that like somebody put together really nice, like you made your own that you put a lot of love and care. It's like, I'm making a handful of these, so I'm trying to mass produce them, but not actually go the route of mass producing to where things are standardized.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit rough.
You're not wrong there. The gameplay was fun though. I think one of the reasons why you want to have a 4th player is because when you are doing the bidding, like, a company comes up and it has a industry, an amount of victory points, but then also a flag on it too. And the flags, if you collect a certain amount of your own country's companies, you get extra points at the end of the game. And so right away, 25% of the companies that came out were like, well,
nobody cares
about that flag, so it's only the symbol. But it is. I feel like we talked about it before, but it's a simple enough, quote unquote, simple enough game to understand. A company comes out, whoever is like the open bidder on it makes an open bid, and you just write a number. Could be 20. You could write $26,342.52, or not? No, 52 cents because it's whole numbers only.
Yeah, whole numbers only.
But you could write any amount of number on there, and then everybody else will write a secret bid and put it on the table, and then the open bidder looks at them and then gives that company to whoever bid the most. If it's them, then everybody knows how much they spent on it. If not, only the open bidder or the main bidder and the one who actually won
know how much.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the open bidder takes all of them, compares them, and then either is like, hey, I won it, in which case everybody knows it was for that open bid, or is like, okay, Zach, you won it, and then everybody else is like, how much did Zach pay for that?
Yep.
And even
all you know is that it's more than whatever the open bid was for.
Right. Which is one of those interesting things, because it could be a thing where, like, if the open bid was 3 million and a whole bunch of random stuff, like 3,442,441, you don't know if they won with 3,442,442 or if they won with 4 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know you were talking a little bit about how you really want some time to convince everybody, like, hey, guys.
No, well, basically, I'd say is like, I'm going to do an opening bid of 150,000, but don't fuck it up, okay? because at the end of the game, whoever has bid the most overall and won, like, has spent the most money on these bids, automatically loses.
They go to 0 points.
So if I started with 150,000 and everybody's like, you know what, we're just going to be bidding on, we're just going to do like 20 for all the bids in the future, then that person's automatically out. So that is one, I'd say that's one downfall of the game. I think it's something you just sort of have to agree upon.
That whoever, like, it needs to really just be that as a table, you just agree that whatever the opening bid is what actually sets it. Because I've seen games where exactly what you talk about happens, where the first player bids, and not even necessarily that high, they bid 500, and then everybody else bids 10s and 20s.
Yeah,
they win for 500, and then the second player to do an open bid bids at 25, and now all of a sudden that's the new economy, and the person who got stuck with the 500 at the opening round is fucked out of the game.
Yeah, so I'd say that's just something you have to talk about with the other players, really.
Because I think it's more interesting if you play at like 150,000, because you could still just bid 150,000 and won, and maybe sneak it. But people don't know if you won with 150,000.
Exactly. There's more wiggle room when you do 152,000 versus 153,000 versus $24 and $25.
Yeah.
There's,
and it makes it easier to like come back from a potentially high. You're not just out with one really bad round bidding or something.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fine if you can do lower ones too. Just, I would say, like you said, let that first bid sort of set the tone. From that one, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But don't fuck over the first person just because they wanted to do something interesting.
It's a good way to get whoever's the first player to hate that game.
Yes, 100%. I'm really glad. I'm looking forward to having this actual game because the components that are on the Kickstarter look really good. Although
has actual components.
Yeah, right. I still find it funny that it's like they have like, Great Britain, so they have like pounds and yen and dollars, and it's still you're just writing a number. I forget who said it, but
I did.
You did, yeah. It's like if you had like an actual stock or
because I made the joke that we should, because it was when we were talking about the Kickstarter last week, where I said you just have to play a game of 4X and use whatever the currency conversions are.
Now you've ruined the game.
No, not that one. But using actual currency converters.
That might have been Jeff who said that.
Yeah. And it's real time, so all of a sudden it changes, and it's like, oh shit, everything's worth so much more now.
It's app based.
Yes, exactly. That's mainly what I've been playing.
You tried to do Terraforming Mars Draft digital?
Oh right, yeah. So the draft variant on Terraforming Mars, the Steam game, came out in beta, and I played a AI game of it, and it worked well. It's still, I mean, like the actual drafting itself worked well. It's just because it's an online game and I'm just playing AI, I don't really care what they're doing on their cards, and that's not really. I don't think there's really anything the game can do for that. It would matter more if I'm playing with actual people. I was trying to get in a game with Patrick. We tried to connect on Steam to do it, but it wasn't having us for trying to, like, I'd create a game and invite him, and he's like, I didn't get anything. And he'd try to invite me, and I didn't get anything like that. It, like, this was right when the beta was like, hey, you can go do the beta now. So I'm sure they have a lot of kinks to work out on that. But
I'm sure
once that gets officially released, that will definitely be cool.
Yeah,
indeed. Jeff, what have you been playing?
So I played some 2-player Dice Forge, like 2+ games at Game Night Wednesday. It's fine at 2-player. I don't really like it as much at 2-player just because you only get that one round of income between people. It's definitely best at 4 by far at this point.
Because you're playing the same amount of rounds.
Yeah. You're playing 9. I think it's 9 with 4 and 2, and then 10 at 3.
Yeah. So you're still playing the same amount of rounds.
Yeah, as 4. Yes. It's fine. You just have to play differently. You don't really want to go for die facings as much. You want to go more for cards. That's really where the big change comes, strategy wise. Still like Dice Forge though. Looking forward to the expansions.
Yeah, whenever that comes out.
Yeah. And then we played some review stuff, and then we played yesterday/Sunday. We got another day of Kingdom Death Monster.
Yes, we did.
Oh shit.
We had been doing so well
Is it all starting to come apart?
Oh, there's a whole story.
There is a story.
So
I'll just say it ended great. That's all I'm going to say. And we'll go.
Start at the beginning. We ended last session by defeating the level 3 lion, the level 3 surprise lion.
That we were not planning on fighting.
Nope. Ended up beating it.
And that was the one where Paul was like, "Yellow bitches."
Yeah.
Then we were going to fight a level 2 antelope, which was our whole plan originally.
Yep.
And on the way to do that, I believe our savior got a hunt event.
So yeah, and our saviors once they retire in the game, they just disappear,
blink out of existence, leaving behind all their gear. Thankfully,
yeah. But he was. The savior was getting close. I think they had three left.
Yeah, we were trying to get rid of it in the first one, but we ended up killing it.
Mm-hmm.
The monster before.
Yeah.
So we were going to just take it into this one and have him just YOLO once again into the fray, take as much damage as possible, and then disappear. Downside was we didn't all make it to the hunt. We ended up at the hunt pretty damaged. I think we had 2 broken legs across multiple people.
So I'm pretty sure the one that didn't make it was the savior.
I see.
It was
because he blinked out of existence. We came back with 4 age, which retired him, and then he immediately disappeared.
Exactly.
Again.
Yes. It was an event that it was just like these people got like left behind, and then they sort of wandered around in the darkness, and then the savior came back.
And it was a special thing because he was a savior.
Because he was a savior, got 4 hunt experience, which caused him to retire.
And he came back with a hide or something.
He came back with a hide, gave it to us, and then just disappeared.
Yep.
And we're like, motherfucker.
So now we had to go into the hunt with only 3 players.
Yep.
Thursby was playing the savior, who was playing the monsters and stuff in the previous one. So once again, he didn't get to play.
Yeah.
He just played the AI monster. So then we showed up to fight the antelope, who then immediately murdered someone, I believe.
Yes.
So then we were down to like 2.
It was.
I think it was me.
Yeah, you got murdered pretty quickly on.
I think I took like 15 damage to the chest or something insane.
Yeah.
And then rolled like a 1, and I was just immediately dead.
Yeah, I think. No, what I remember what happened was this is okay. So we were at 3, and we're actually doing okay enough. But the
antelope's not particularly hard.
No, except the annoying thing is that he is at level 2. He has this diabolical trait, which at the end of his turn, he charges
full move
to a random person
in a cardinal direction. Up, down, left, right.
And I'm going to tell you this: 90% of the time, it was Paul. It was hilarious, but it was just watching him. Like there'd be a lot of times where he would just run over Paul, turn around, and run over Paul again.
Yep.
But this one time he did it. He ran over Paul and Jeff. You both got knocked down. He hit your legs, so you both took like severe injuries in the legs.
Yep.
But you didn't die. And so basically, he just like broke both your legs. You guys fell down, and then he slowly walked across, and basically, like you rolled a 1, which is your head just explodes. So basically, we just are like he just put his hoof on your head.
I think you're thinking of the second time we fought
am I
an
thinking
antelope.
of this?
Yeah.
Am I thinking of the second time we faced with the antelope? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
The first time I immediately died, and then we were about to just lose horribly because it had a ton of health left, and we were like, all right, let's just cut.
Oh yeah.
Cut it here. They die. We're just not going to waste our time. Go back to the settlement phase because there's no way we're going to win. And then we found out that you can run away.
Yep. And so
before we went into our next hunt, right, like almost literally before Paul had found that, and we rolled, and
my character made
your character made
Paul's character still died.
Yeah.
So Timothy lived to fight another day.
Not much longer.
Not much longer.
Because after that, did we fight the Hand?
Yes.
Which is a whole new boss.
Mm-hmm.
Third from the end, I think. I think there's only the Watcher and the Gold Smoke Knight.
I think there was something after the Hand, but I'm not sure.
I think we fought everything that has come in the base set.
Okay. Well, we haven't.
There's like Butcher level 2 and stuff like that.
Maybe,
but I think of new stuff we haven't fought at all. It's like the Watcher and Gold Smoke Knight.
And technically in that campaign, it was also we didn't fight the Phoenix, but yes.
Yeah, I guess that's just of Nemesis monsters, I should say.
Yes.
So that was a whole new fight, and much like a World of Warcraft raid boss that you have gone into the raid on launch day, there are no strategies, and you have no idea what it does.
And he wipes the floor with you.
Yes.
Pretty much every time he hit someone, he would do 5 damage.
Yes.
And we would go in with 2 or 3 armor, so that any time you do a hit, it's either a heavy or a severe immediately.
Yes. And then his whole thing is like he has an ability, if you don't have survival to like stop it, you just die immedietely.
Yeah.
So, but we have to use our...
It's called the penalty. So basically, how the penalty works is basically if no one's around, if everybody decides just to run away from him, he just points at someone and they either die or have to spend survival or die, or they spend survival and then they just, like, their chest sort of like caves in and you get like a broken rib.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Or your head caves in, which is the first penalty of death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
your skull crushes your brain.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yes.
I think is literally what it says.
Pretty much. So that's why you have to have someone around him. But
he also has a ghost step, which
he
just Naruto teleports behind
100%.
someone
Yeah.
and stabs them.
Yes.
It's literally what happens.
And he has these like lenses that need to be open.
So there's synergies in the game. Every weapon has kind of like an alignment, and if you lock them up, you get synergies, which your gear does. But in this, you have auras based on how many synergies or your most synergy. You have a specific color, and his whole thing is hitting him with that color will open one of his lenses. But most of his cards have like, unless all of his lenses are open, he cancels your attack and then just hits you.
Yeah. So basically what it is you want
I was the only one with a green aura.
And Jeff could not get a hit.
I could not wound.
Well, that's what I
was
mean.
hitting him.
Yeah, you couldn't wound for the life of you.
No.
Because his armor is also 14.
You needed like a 10. You needed to crit to be able to wound anyways.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
Yes.
We all died.
Yes.
Very... a lot of he just would go step behind people and then
stab, stab, stab.
Yeah. And so we're like, okay, well, we died, and then luckily we didn't have anybody who was retired in our settlement because apparently if you lose, he just goes around and kills all the old people. And then
oh my god!
Yeah. The first time this happened,
was it the butcher? No, the king's hand.
The hand. We fought the hand.
The king's man.
The king's man would kicks over your pottery, and you lose your pottery technology.
Do like fucking Link just going around
yes,
smashing?
100%.
100% exactly what happens.
And then we apparently were like, well, fuck, we're never making that again, I guess.
Yeah. So then we got through that wipe. So our second wipe in a row, basically.
Yeah.
I guess we definitely had one person live from the first
Yes.
one. So then we went to go fight another level 2 antelope. And now this is the one where Zach was referencing earlier.
Well, okay, so this was one
where we also didn't make it with the whole crew.
We also didn't make it with the whole crew because the overwhelming darkness, which is a spot in the center.
Basically, if you go over halfway, which all level 2 monsters are halfway.
Yeah, you have to do this roll event where, depending on if you're insane, if you're courageous, or you're just doomed.
Which is just anything that's not either of those two.
Yeah, you roll die, and I rolled a 1, which meant that I had to spend survival or I would die, except the previous event I just got
wiped all of your survival away.
Wiped all 6 of my survival away, so my character just died. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Brand new character.
Brand new character. This was Justina Waterloo.
Yep.
And
so Zach didn't make it to the hunt this time.
Nope.
So then we went into another level 2 antelope with only 3 people, and it went about just the same.
Yep.
Except this time he would just run over Paul and Thursby over and over and over and over.
Yep.
And knocking them down each time.
And then killed somebody by
took out both their legs the first time, and then
slowly
the brand new savior that we had just birthed, which you need to roll like a 10 on the intimacy to get the savior, who is like super great.
Yep.
Immediately just like hydraulic pressed his head into the ground with his hoof.
Yep.
And exploded his brain.
Yeah, it was Jeff was saying we were doing so great, and all of a sudden we just had
wipe.
We had we just had randos, we had hot dog and andouille and bratwurst left.
And
they're all fucked.
And
Dan likes to name his characters smoked meat related things.
Yes.
So pancetta immediately died. Prosciutto immediately died.
We still had Captain Hank Hazel Murphy.
Yep. Yep.
Hazel Hank Murphy.
Hazel Hank Murphy. Yep.
Sea Lab Captain, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about it.
Yep.
And then we're going on another hunt. I don't remember.
Yeah, we were going on another hunt, and so
I don't remember what we were going to go do. I think we were going to go do a 1.
We did a level 1 antelope because we had been trying to
for 3 times. We were trying to finish off my set,
which is funny. One of his characters got a random disorder, Vestophobia, where he just ripped off his
shirt,
and so he just destroyed it, and we're like, what the?
No chest armor allowed to be worn.
Yep.
And if you're wearing chest armor, he rips it off.
Yep. But yeah, we fought the level 1 antelope.
Murdered it. Slaughtered it.
Super easy.
Then we were going to go back to camp and finish out the Screaming set because it has this really good thing with the spear and stuff like that. And then on the way back to the settlement, we got an interesting event.
Yep. Settlement event. It was called Clinging Mists.
Yes. I think we needed an 8, 9, or 10 to get this specific thing because there was 3 different tiers.
Yep.
And it was basically if we had a guidepost or not, or if we had some other thing or not.
Which I will say many times things are like, do you have a guidepost? Which is like, lanterns like leading you around. We didn't have it. And many times it would have helped us out drastically.
Yes.
Like he wouldn't have killed all the old people if we
had guideposts.
If we had guideposts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what the option was is yes or no, do you have guideposts? No. All right. So your crew has to immediately go on another hunt.
Because we're lost, basically.
Because we're lost. Or start a brand new settlement with your current characters and gear. Basically, you're so lost, you're just like, fuck it, we're going to go start anew.
Yep.
You wipe literally everything else. Your old settlement isn't dead, but it's gone because you have now gone to another area to make a brand new settlement. So we have now chosen that.
Yeah, we chose that. So now we're just starting a new campaign with overpowered gear.
We have all the gear that we have from like lantern level
12 or 13.
12 or 13. And we've gone back to lantern year 1.
Yep.
And we basically skipped the intro tutorial like lion hunt and
just do
and brand new settlement, new virtues, new everything, new population.
Yeah.
And we are going to break this game so hard.
I was gonna say, sounds kind of broken.
What was funny is that like we were at like it was like 4:00. I had to go somewhere at like 4:40, and I was like, all right, we have time for that one antelope fight, and then we have this. We had that happen because we were
gonna do some bookkeeping, and that was gonna be it.
We murdered the antelope. It's super quick. Didn't even take
2 rounds.
Yeah,
if that.
And so we had this happen, and then we're like, well, do you think we have enough time for the level 1?
We were able to ambush the antelope and be able to start right next to it.
Yeah,
that's what let us kill it in like 2 rounds.
It was crazy. But then we were like, well, you know what? We have 15 minutes. I'm sure we can kill this level 1 lion. And what was great is that immediately the first event we got was you can ambush the lion if you want. And we're like, let's do it.
Yep.
So we fought it and we lost a lot of our extra abilities like the surge and the dash.
Yeah, because we don't have any of the tech or anything because it's a brand new.
Yeah. And we have encourage and we have dodge. But we didn't use any of that because anytime he would hit us, it'd be like 1 damage, and we're like,
bink,
okay,
bink. All right, Jesus, stab.
And it's just like
it's like a fucking lightsaber through a lion at this point.
Yeah, it was. We just murdered.
You like rolled 5 dice with the katars.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And his armor was only 8, and so it was always just like. And my character had +2 strength. And
all right,
so,
I'm moving on a 2+.
Yeah. And it's just
on a D10
damage. Okay, I'm just it was
a slaughter.
It was a slaughter, and now it's good because now we know when we're gonna go fight that hand eventually. We're like, okay, we know to plan better.
Basically, we get a second chance with all of this gear, and we don't have to start over and build up all this gear all over again.
Yeah,
because they were all basically new characters.
Yeah. And what's funny is we sort of we're like, well, let's do these extra new sheets as save points. So if we want to go back to this, we can.
So we didn't have to go through all the trudging through the first like 5 or 7 years or whatever it was.
But guess what? We have a new fucking save point now.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So the next time we play is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, because it's all just going to be level 1 stuff, really.
Yeah. But those by that third time of us losing, it's like, yeah, this game is not for Adrian at all.
Yeah, we were very close to just being done with this. We were down to 6 population at one point, and you have to send out 4, and most of them are crippled or have terrible disorders that we wouldn't want to take anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we really lucked out.
Yeah, we did.
there was never even a part of me that was like, maybe I want to play this
Oh,
game.
no, I get that, but every so often it's just like, yep, this just continues to reaffirm that.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yes, it was.
And that was Kingdom Death Monster.
Right on. For myself, didn't really play a whole lot. A little bit of review games and things at game nights and condos. I missed Wednesday game night again this week. It's been frustrating missing so many recently and not getting to play as many games as I would like, but whatever. Saturday, however, we did get to do another episode session of Mile High Dungeon Delvers. So this was episode 6, and I think it was pretty much unanimous around the table that it was one of our best sessions yet. Basically, episode 5, which will release the day after you're listening to this over on the MHDD feed. That one wraps up kind of like a little trilogy thing, and then 6 is us moving on. And just had some really cool things that went down. I got a bust out. I got for Christmas an early Christmas gift of some special edition books that I got to actually use for the first time. So now I actually have my own D&D books. They're the first ones I've ever owned. So I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, it was a good time. Got to...
There's a very large map here now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been here before. Just Wes normally takes some of that stuff, but increasingly he's like, I don't need to take some of this anywhere else because you're the only ones dealing with it, and we play here every time.
That's why my copy of Gloomhaven lives at Paul's.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the world map that we've had since the beginning.
I see.
So, but yeah, it was a good time, and I really, really like D&D, and I really, really like the group we have for Dungeon Delvers. So, we also, I think, already broke 100 downloads over the first 4 episodes. So, not, a ton, but I'm pretty happy with it. For starting a new thing, and very few of our listeners really porting over, just because D&D is quite a bit different than a normal board game podcast.
And that it's a live play versus...
Yeah, it's going along. I'm enjoying it. Having a lot of fun with it. So that's what I've been up to. Which I think,
and installing rainbow cables.
Yeah, I installed new. We got shock mounts for the mics.
Yeah,
new cables. So instead of it being 2 6-foot cables that are daisy chained together and then like stretching awkwardly at a diagonal over to the audio interface, now they're actually long cables that like run up and stay out of the way, and just one cable from one mic down to the interface. It's all coming together. Yep. Still probably have to do some modifications in a few months when we start doing video, so that the video has a clear view of the table and not a bunch of microphones suspended all around it.
You're not wrong.
But
longer arms?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got some ideas. I'll cross that bridge in a few months when it comes.
Yeah.
But just another set of arms connected to this. And so it's some weird fucking... It will then look like some weird spider looking thing.
That's the MHGG way.
Yeah. Just add more.
Cobble it all together until hopefully it kind of works.
Yep.
So, Jeff, is there a bloody minute this week?
Nope.
Okay.
We'll know by the time this airs if I have made it into the second round of playoffs or not. My opponent was out of town over last weekend, so he just wanted to play this week. So everyone else has got their games in. We're just waiting on my game against Chaos with 2 Claw Mighty Blow. Rutro.
Godspeed.
Yep. Second season Chaos team versus first season Lizardman team. We shall see.
Right on.
I've got the strength advantage, but he's got guard and a lot of block and bullshit beastmen with plus move and plus edge.
Blah, indeed.
Yeah.
Right on. And I think that moves us on over to news and Kickstarters.
Moving on to news this week. Since Hasbro is already doing literally everything else, why not make a theme park in Wisconsin?
That's where I want to go for theme parks.
Specifically, Madison, Wisconsin.
I mean, I get that that's a rhetorical question, but really, I have so many answers to why not. Yeah, they're doing it.
You're doing it.
It's a thing.
You're doing it, Hasbro.
So they are working with Imagine Resorts and Hotels, and they're going to Imagine's helping them co-conceptualize, which is an interesting phrase that I've never heard of, create, build, and operate the resort. It's going to include themed hotel rooms, an indoor water park, themed entertainment and food, which is, standard amusement park fare. but they're all tied to Hasbro brands. Currently, the specific brands that are being involved are Magic the Gathering, which, okay. Monopoly? I guess you get to stay in the Boardwalk Suite. Candyland, maybe for the kids.
I'm pretty sure for Monopoly, if they see someone being too happy, they will just take them off to jail. They smiled 3 times, that means you're going to jail.
Off to jail with you.
Yep. And then the parents have to pay $50 in order to get them out.
or buy Magic the Gathering cards.
And as long as you're not
investment.
As long as you're the second most attractive person there, somebody will randomly walk up and give you $20.
Yes.
But also they're including the toy brands My Little Pony, Nerf.
I could be interested in a Nerf theme park.
Yeah.
Thing.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
Mr. Potato Head and Hungry Hungry Hippos, which I think it's interesting that Hungry Hungry Hippos is listed in the toy section, not the game section. So apparently, I think we can all smashing a button to make something gobble up little.
Apparently,
balls
my grand strategy of Hungry Hungry Hippos has gone to waste.
Yeah, even Hasbro doesn't consider it a game. So yeah, that's a
thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if this ever actually exists. Like most of those weird theme park announcements that sort of don't happen. Like I think that Blizzard theme park happened, right?
Yeah. Yes. Well, also a lot of Asian countries have like theme parks. You're like, that's a theme park there? What?
Makes me kind of want to go to those theme parks.
I know, right?
No.
I had also missed this, but this is the second hospitality licensing that Hasbro has done recently. A few weeks ago, they announced a chain of family entertainment centers all through the U.S. and Canada. So
I wonder if that's just a fancy board game store.
I think looking at it, fixed location event center. Licensed brands for the centers include My Little Pony, Monopoly, Mr. Potato Head, G.I. Joe, Clue, Battleship, Hungry Hungry Hippo, Trivial Pursuit, Shoots and Ladders, and other unannounced brands. I kind of am imagining like a Dave and Buster's, but family friendly, or like maybe a Chuck E. Cheese, but
Chuck
Hasbro.
Hasbro Chuck E. Cheese?
Hasbro Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay. As long as it has arcades. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And pizza.
I like
bad pizza.
They promised,
bad pizza.
They promised for this one, for the entertainment center link, they promise a gamified environment, and it just makes me think of like actual game theory, like that they're going to be like not putting games in, but just taking advantage of people using game theory.
Yeah, that's probably what's exactly happening. Next up in news is Santorini. It's coming to mobile.
Yes, it is.
Because it's a fun game.
Yeah, there's if you're able to sign up for it, there was an open beta for it, and I was able to sign up for it, and so I played a little bit on it, and it's Santorini. It looks nice. It works well. There's like an Odyssey mode. I don't know. It's like a single player thing where you're playing. You're trying to beat different gods, and it's like giving different trials depending on which god you use and stuff like that. And it looks like you can unlock certain ones as you play through that, because the starting, at least on here, obviously, you only start with 4 of the gods available to you.
Okay.
But I also read something where it's like you can unlock gods, like if you own the game or something like that, you can unlock them on here.
Well, I mean, the main thing that I saw in this article, it mentions that owners of the physical copy can use the app to pick the gods, and you can use it to log your matches digitally. So you can play.
That's what it was. A
physical game and then log it in the app.
Gotcha. Well, I know that if that's the case, then it definitely makes sense that there are a lot of guys. There's going to be some in-app purchases if you want all the characters, basically. So
as is
the usual, but it works really well.
Base game's going to be free, so that's nice too.
No, yeah, that would make sense. Why all the DLC stuff too?
Yeah.
And it looks like $17 to unlock all of them, and there are a lot of them, but it works well. You can actually move it around. It was very clear when I was playing it. So if you like Santorini, the digital implementation has worked well.
Right on.
Next up in news is the announcement from Fireside Games, My First Castle Panic.
Yeah, so not a lot here, other than it's another like intro teaching your kids to play board games. There's already been a My First Stonehenge, and so now My First Castle Panic is just introducing kids ages 4 and up to Castle Panic. 1 to 4 players trying to catch monsters advancing on the castle. The new playstyle requires no reading or heavy counting, instead using color and shape matching. On your turn, player draws a card, then either plays one card from the hand or asks another player for help. To catch a monster, players must play a card with the same shape and color as a space containing a monster. And then monsters move one space along the castle, and new tokens. It's just one path.
Yeah, it's
to the
just one
castle.
path
It's
instead
not,
of
like,
6
coming from all around.
Yeah. And it's for kids 4 and up, so it's definitely an intro game.
Yeah, and even the fact you're not killing monsters, you're capturing them. And like the cards for playing is people with like a net or a lasso or a bag to like run out and catch the monsters.
Or giant hands.
Scissor grabby hands.
Yeah. Those are very creepy looking. So this I don't think this would have any place in like trying to teach an adult games.
No.
But for kids it looks like it could be good. I don't know.
I think that this is already moving in a direction to replace typical little kid games like Candyland.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things people always say.
This must be why Hasbro is branching out into
theme parks.
Because like things like My First Castle Panic are coming along, and they're like, oh shit, we're those very simple games, we're gonna run out of them. So
diversify.
Well, because I've seen people say, make that argument about like where Candyland fits in gaming is like it's not meant for adults. Adults shouldn't find it entertaining.
Yes.
It's meant to teach kids like basic counting and color matching. And so now if you have something like this that actually still has a little bit of a game wrapped up in it, then that could rapidly replace things like Candyland.
Yeah.
Going back to our top 10 games that replace other games, My First Castle Panic replaces Candyland. Calling it right now.
Are you sure you don't want to do it the other way around? You played My First Castle Panic and you're like, so Candyland should definitely replace this.
No.
You sure?
I'm sure.
I feel like there is
maybe
history of this same
a point or two on there.
Yeah.
One time. One thing on my list.
You kill one person and they just call you a murderer. So
you're not wrong.
You slap one floor.
Slap one floor.
Next up in news, WizKids has announced the date of the new Fury of Dracula edition coming out January 2nd.
And that is literally all the news that I really have. It's January 2nd, Fury of Dracula 4th edition.
It doesn't have the mini cards anymore. It's got the large size cards. It's got painted minis and some errata printed on there from the previous edition, but otherwise I believe it is almost entirely just 3rd edition.
Right.
If you have 3rd edition, you probably don't need 4th edition.
No.
Unless you need minis.
Unless you just cannot paint minis for any reason.
Or you like the bigger cards, I guess.
Yes,
Well, and I'm scrolling through because this is a Twitter announcement, and Patriot Games Ltd, which I think is a retailer, had replied, "When will retailers be getting these in our stores? We have customers who have seen this post, but when we called you, your sales team had no idea what we were talking about. So maybe it'll be in your store on the 2nd. Maybe not. Who knows?"
Yeah. Well, I'm sure when it hits, we'll see some quality comparisons between the 3rd and 4th edition and see if WizKids made a good version or not.
Yeah. Time will tell.
Last up on news, Power Grid is getting a 15th anniversary edition, also known as Buy Everything Again edition.
I mean, not everything.
They are re-releasing all the expansions for this new version as well.
Wait, what? Where did you see that?
In the article, releasing comprehensive FAQ for Power Grid and its 12 expansions.
Yeah, the FAQ that covers the game and its 12 expansions.
Updated versions of the expansions are due to follow in the future.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just like when they did Dracula, they redid that and then they started releasing shit for that. It's
but I mean, there's a lot more Power Grid expansions than the one Agricola
I 100%
expansion.
agree. This is called the Recharged Edition, and really, I don't like. Maybe in the sense that it's like, oh, my battery was empty, and now it has power again, so it's been recharged. It doesn't add anything new to that. It just
I missed the line about the updated
expansions
versions to follow. Yeah, I thought it was just because I thought it was just a new base set. Because it talked about slightly adjusted rules, taking in everything they've learned over the last 15 years, all the tweaks. And then visual improvements for player order rows, which was in the deluxe edition that came out a little while ago, and then that there'd be like another couple boards that came in the base set.
And
so I thought it'd be a good base set, and then
it's got the 2-player from the deluxe as well.
Yeah,
Well, it's one new board, but yes, or it's just will include 2 different game board layouts. Didn't original Power Grid have U.S. and Germany?
Yes.
So I think that seems similar. I feel like this is just sort of a retweaking of it. That's pretty much like it's literally just a new edition with like, hey, here's just some rule updates, but that seems to be it with.
Yeah.
But if you already own Power Grid, definitely don't get
yeah,
this.
yeah. I don't think you need it. All right. That wraps up all of news.
Which leads us into Kickstarters. First up on Kickstarters is Stonehenge and the Sun. Not quite funded yet. $7,400 of its $19,000 goal. 95 backers, but over a month left to pledge this one, which you can for $55.
Yeah. I bet I know why this hasn't pledged. This hasn't been pledged to 100%. And I'm gonna guess it's mainly the fact that you have to hook up a wire to a ceiling in order to play this game.
Yeah, this becomes basically a permanent installation.
Yeah.
It's not a game you can just take with you. So we've talked about Stonehenge and the Sun a couple times on the show. We certainly talked about it last week when we mentioned that the Kickstarter was coming. It's here now, and I think I talked about it a few weeks prior to that, but maybe that was just in Slack. It got a decent amount of buzz out at like BGG Con and stuff. For essentially, it's a game where you're building Stonehenge by placing wooden blocks, and at the end of your turn, you have to swing this metal ball bearing through the Stonehenge you're building, and anything you knock over, you take, and there are negative points at the end of the game. So you're trying to avoid doing that. I had seen a little clip of it posted on Twitter by What's Eric Playing, and I had asked him a little bit about it, like, what's suspending the ball? And he's like, oh, they had a little stand for it. And then when we were talking about the Kickstarter thing last week, we were like, they're still trying to figure out how to fix it. Well, in the Kickstarter here, they are sending you one metal screw hook and one like
adhesive.
Yeah, like the little like
command hook.
Yeah, removable strip things with a couple different plastic strips for it, adhesive strips for it, so you can take it on and off if you don't need a permanent installation of it. Which seems like an unideal solution. Like even just scrolling through the Kickstarter, you can see like they very first showcased it at Is This a Game? Rule Design the World exhibition that was in Tokyo in June. And the entire point of the exhibit was to study and experiment with games and game rules. And so like that kind of made sense, especially for it and the company who's doing it, who does a lot of weird games. It's like, is this even a game?
Right, yeah.
And in that picture, they clearly show they've got these cool little like stands that hook it well up and above the table and give you plenty of room to play. And I'm assuming that's what they used at conventions and things as well. But they don't include anything like that in the actual Kickstarter. In fact, they do include a link to a mic stand on Amazon that they're like, you could also use this.
Only $15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I've considered getting that for the show back before I built this fancy overhead rig. But
even still, I linked that on our Slack, and I was like, I think this might be too bullshit for even Paul.
Yeah.
And he was just like, ha, yeah, definitely not getting that.
I mean, it's too bad the game itself, that sounds like a cool concept for a game, and it totally fits in the bullshit dexterity game category. But, dude, come up with some kind of a little fucking piece together, like a couple of the pieces from Suspend, like the metal rods, and like just make a little frame that you can swing the ball from.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's ways you could do that for a reasonable price point that makes it so you can actually take this game with you somewhere to play it. Not only be able to play it in the one place you decide to install it. I mean, I can't imagine you're not going to be able to ever take this to a brewery the way it's currently designed. You can't be like, hey guys, I'm going to stick an adhesive strip up on your ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you've got a 20-foot industrial ceiling? So I guess
it's a 5-meter nylon rope that comes with it. So.
Ooh.
Well, there you go.
And I mean, the disc that you play on is only a little bit less than a foot around. That's not a lot that you would need to make a tripod that could go over it. There was probably something better that could have been done.
I gotta think you could have done something.
And it's $55 for what it is.
Yeah.
Not including shipping, which is another $15 on top of that. So this is a $70 game altogether.
Yeah. They have a review on the sheet from What's Eric Playing from Eric, and he does. I think what he says here is very true. This is, I do think, the kind of thing that Kickstarter's really meant for. Like, there's no way any traditional publisher is going to pick this game up. It's not ready for it. But at Kickstarter, you can see, if you can find enough people who are interested, and it's only been up for a couple days, and they've already got
still a month to go.
7,000, yeah, and I think with a month time frame, they might be able to find enough people who are interested to
I wonder,
get through there.
Honest,
I would consider it.
Honestly, I wonder if they're giving themselves that much time too to also be like, we need to figure out how to make this not have to hang out on a ceiling.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if they do figure that out at some point, I think they should take it down and relaunch, depending on where they are in funding,
you're
because
not wrong.
A lot of people have already looked at it and forgotten about it. They'll never see the update that, hey guys, we solved this major problem with the game. It's actually a game now, in that it's something you can take and play with you where you want to. I could see, like, if I owned a bar, like, permanently installing it, like people do the little hook and loop game, things like that. But, or if I had a good space outdoors where I could set up, but I don't.
A lot of ifs for $70.
For $70, yeah. So that's Stonehenge in the Sun. You can also, with some of their higher pledges, get a bunch of the other Itten games. You get to choose for the $163 tier. You get Stonehenge in the Sun plus 5 of the Itten titles, which they've got a whole bunch of different ones. I'm not really familiar with many of their games, other than the fact that I think they're all pretty weird.
And they've never done Kickstarter before this.
Yes, this is their first Kickstarter.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's Stonehenge in the Sun.
Next up is Roll Through the Ages, the Iron Age. Well-funded, $10,800 of its $5,000 goal, 288 backers, and a little bit less than 2 weeks left to go. And you can pledge this one at its most popular of many, many different levels for $40.
That's a lot of
tears.
That's a lot of tears.
Yes. So
I just want to say, as per usual, Eagle Griffin has their one pledge that's just, you want to get everything that we've ever done, here you go.
That's just a list that's getting longer and a pledge that's getting bigger.
Yes.
So this follows up Roll Through the Ages, the Bronze Age, which are basically Through the Ages, the dice games, with a little bit more of a focus on specific ages. And then because it's an Eagle Griffin Kickstarter, like Zach was saying, you can just kind of mix and match fucking everything that Eagle Griffin has ever done. So you want a bunch of Lacerda games? Go ahead and tack those on.
But also looks like this one is adding the Mediterranean expansion for this as well.
Yes, which I don't know. I don't think Bronze ever had an expansion. If they did, I wasn't aware of it. Iron Age by itself is 40 to 60 minutes, 1 to 4 players. And it's a roll and peg, I guess. It's so similar to Roll Through the Bronze Ages. You've got some dice. You're going to be rolling them, gathering resources, and then kind of filling out like a roll and write sheet where you use your different resources and things and track all of that on your little pegboards. I'm not really sure how it's going to be different, just a quick glance through it, than Bronze Age, other than different wonders and maybe some slightly different resources and things. Like in this one, you're building provinces, raising armies, and conquering barbarians, which I think Bronze Age was a little bit more localized in what you were trying to do, whereas mostly like pottery and food, maybe get some weapons and build wonders. The Mediterranean expansion is going to add overseas settlements to the mix with a central pegboard that all the players play on, where you're trying to basically be the first to kind of get involved in different colonies. So, like, if you want to build ship fleets, you go to Crete. If you want to mine, you go to Spain, things like that. Yeah, that's the main thing is Roll Through the Ages and that expansion. And then, like I said, all of the other Eagle Griffin games. So,
yeah, they even have pledges like if you pledge over a certain amount, you get other games you can get with it, like Nosferatu.
Yeah.
A lot of different pledge levels on this one.
Yeah.
Do your research. It helps. Next up on Kickstarter is Folded Space Campaign 3. Very well funded, $39,000 of its $12,000 goal. Just over 1,000 backers and just over 3 weeks left to pledge this one, which goes anywhere from like $6 to $20.
A lot more reasonable than
literally any other insert.
Yes.
Yeah, but these are basically like laser cut foam core, so they're not
I mean, I'll tell you this. I tried to make some foam core. Trying to cut that shit was so annoying.
Yeah.
That
you move through some fucking Zacto blades.
Yep.
We had like a couple times where we all met up, like shared central cutting boards and razors, and just hung out while we tried to make our. You're like, I've got like 30% of a Imperial Assault insert made from that, and I've got a bunch of pieces of foam core that I never finished anything with. But yeah, they are foam core, but they're laser cut, so the edges and everything look real nice. Jeff, you have a folded insert.
I have one for Forbidden Stars.
But like, is the laser cut, they come out nice, the edges and everything?
Yes, but there's a lot, and nothing's really labeled. It's just sort of
They figure it out.
You're just eyeballing on shape.
It's like a puzzle.
It is very much like a puzzle that you glue together.
Yes.
Like some puzzles.
Yes.
Indeed. So this third campaign of theirs, the inserts they have available, I'm just going to blast through them here real quick. There's a handful of them. Anachrony, Carcassonne, Castles of Burgundy, Clans of Caledonia, Founders of Gloomhaven, Gaia Project, Imperial Settlers, Isle of Skye, La Havre, Mansions of Madness, 2nd Edition, Pulsar 2849, Robinson Crusoe, Scythe, Fenris, and Wind Gambit, Spirit Island, and Terra Mystica.
You can also pledge for any of their previous ones on here currently. I think it's almost everything that they've done in campaign 1 and 2 is on here. So these all still continue to range from $5 to $25, with $25 being like Twilight Imperium, Star Wars Rebellion, and Rising Sun.
Yeah.
So that's like their high end.
I saw the Mansion of Madness one, and I was like, how the fuck do you get all of that in one box? And then I realized that one, like, especially because it has a bunch of expansions on there too. It doesn't have Mansion's first edition pieces that you're using, or the collections. If you
Expansions and stuff.
Yeah, those collection expansions, and then also it has you taking the bases off the bottom when you're not in play. And I was like, that's too much trouble.
Yeah.
Mine are all glued, so that's not going to happen.
No.
No.
But yeah, Folded Space has always been a good alternative to some of the real pricey laser cut wood ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few on here I'd vaguely be interested in, like Imperial Settlers, Isle of Skye, if I ever get my own copy of Mansions or Robinson Crusoe.
It's specifically
Spirit Island I would be interested in, except it's literally just with the Branson Claw expansion, and since they just had a Kickstarter for all that extra shit.
But when does that extra shit come?
I mean, like 2 years from now.
So,
but I'm still just gonna wait for it.
That's how I'm waiting on Scythe still. There was something I was just going to say. Oh, the Crusoe insert is only for the new edition, not the old edition. So,
Yeah. A whole bunch of different options if you want to get some foam core inserts.
Yeah.
That you don't spend a whole bunch of hours cutting yourself.
Yep.
Last up in Kickstarters this week is Dized, the app-based learning board games tool. Not quite funded yet. $34,000 of its $75,000 goal, over 900 backers, and just over 2 weeks left to go, with its most popular pledge being $49, with a $29 pledge close behind.
Yeah, so we've talked about Dized before a while back. They had a previous Kickstarter that they kind of pulled, and now they've revamped and are relaunching. Essentially, this is a companion app that is supposed to replace learning the rules for a game. Like, it's supposed to walk you through initial setup and how you play the game and do all of that in some kind of highly intuitive, customizable, and interactive manner. That's the idea. I've seen it at a couple conventions, but I never actually went over and talked to them because it doesn't particularly interest me. It's not how I want to learn games. I'll either have Zach learn it and then teach me, or if it's a heavy game that Zach won't learn and teach me, I'll just spend like 4 days reading the rules, have one really rough playthrough where we learn the rules, and then be good to go.
Or just fail on all fronts and play it for many times without ever actually playing it right.
Also true.
Well, I mean, that's every game. Yeah, so the different pledges are essentially you're getting varying amounts of credits that can unlock content on Dized, so it seems like it's going to be a thing where, like, you spend a certain amount of credits to unlock, like, the rules for Scythe or the rules for Terraforming Mars.
Well, and it looks like you can use a credit either to get a subscription to everything for a month or unlock, like, one game permanently. So if you're like, oh, I just want, it's like, oh, I just got this new game. That's the only thing I want it for. You can get that. Or if you're like, I'm just going to keep it open and whatever new games I get, like, hopefully they'll have stuff on it. But it's the estimated delivery is October of next year. So you're definitely buying.
I mean, the app is out now. You can get the app.
Oh, you can?
Yes, there is an app on the App Store that you can do. I think their full rollout is going to be October of next year, and possibly the promos delivering. Because the $49 pledge level comes with a bunch of promos for various games and stuff.
Well, it's still October 2019 for the $4 pledge. So, and I've seen people use, so either they didn't bother changing it, which I've seen some people do, or it's just probably what you're saying, that the rollout will be around then.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the big things they're trying to do with this campaign, and part of the reason it's going to take till October to have this app completely like delivery ready, is they talk about that a lot of feedback they've gotten since they first launched the app and as they've been working on this project is that everybody's like, how are you making an app that teaches you how to play when everybody learns to play a little bit differently? Like for some people, watching a video is great. They can really lock into that. For other people, it's hard to focus on a video. They space out and they don't pay attention. Or
they hate whatever creator is doing it.
Or they hate whatever creator's doing it.
Bullshit, Paul.
Yeah.
And same thing like, trying to teach people at the table, like, people, questions get interjected and thrown off track, and it's hard to get a coherent teach that way. There's all kinds of issues, and people learn different ways. It's just kind of how people are. So what they're really trying to do with this app is they want to have it kind of learn how you and your group best understand games. So they are trying to put learning algorithms directly into their tutorial engine, calling them adaptive profiles, where it will learn the types of games you like, what types of games you understand, and your overall game experience, so that it can, like if you have no game experience and you go to play Race for the Galaxy, it will teach you very in-depth like action selection and some of that stuff. Or like if you try to play Harry Potter and you don't know anything, it'll start you at like Harry Potter level 1, where it's like, this is a deck builder. Mm-hmm. You're learning the basics of deck building. Whereas if you're like us, it'll be like, oh, you can jump right into year 7 of Harry Potter, where here's the cool mechanics that go along with that base game that you now understand at its core.
And it looks like they're also going to have not only the tutorials and stuff like that, but also rules, including like built-in FAQs and like searchable rules, really. So you're like, what does this card do? And this, like, how does this card work? And hopefully it will be able to tell you those sort of things. So it seems like it's just trying to be an all-in-one resource for, you have any question about games, this game in particular, come here and we'll be able to answer it for you.
Yeah. They have over on their a link on the Kickstarter to their website where they have a list of publishers that are like on board with them and kind of working with them to get their games included. And to be fair, it's a pretty baller list of like everything from like Hans im Glück, a German publisher that's done a handful of games that I recognize the name, but I can't say any of their games offhand. And then like our sponsors, Gray Fox Games, Simon, Big Steve Jackson, Stonemeyer, so it's everything, Two Tomatoes. I've never heard of Two Tomatoes. I have no idea what games they put out, but they're on board. And then, just a little bit down from them is Capstone or Cephalofair. So,
one also thing I saw in here that's pretty interesting too is because it's going to be like, if it becomes a platform for digital content like this, you can get all those games where it's just like, all right, we need to add up the scores. All right, well, let me just whip out my calculator again or something. Like, and it has confusing things on there. This looks like it'll have like trackers and stuff for that, and then possibly like dice rollers, timers, AI players, which I don't know how that would work. New content, possibly maybe digital mechanics and stuff like that. So it seems like they could branch out for more than just here's how to play the game, but to actually try and enhance the game, to make every game an app game, which I'm sure
everything is app based.
I'm sure everybody would love that.
Yes.
I mean, but like I just downloaded the Ice Cool one real quick. It has like a little tutorial in there, so it sort of
now I know
walks you through the story.
There's way too many steps there of like, this is the story of Ice Cool. I don't need a story for Ice Cool.
Well, this is the tutorial, not the rules. So if you've never played Ice Cool, or you're a new group or something like that that is not familiar with this at all, this could be something that's useful.
I still don't think I need it was like
7
or 8.
You don't. That's not for you.
I can't imagine that there's anybody who wants 7 to 8 little, like, because I saw you touch the air like 7 or 8 times where it walked you through like a little mini comic of, I'm a penguin and I'm in school. Oh, we're on break and we're running through the halls. Hope the hall monitor doesn't catch
and that's
us.
that's why there's no games that are going to replace Candyland, because people shit all over them in the first place.
I'm not shitting all over Ice Cool. I'm saying that the tutorial on the app doesn't need 7 pages of backstory. You could do that in 1 fucking page that sets up.
Well, maybe they're trying to be cute with it.
Don't be cute with the whole point of like a tutorial is to teach me the game quickly, not waste my time teaching me frame by frame backstory.
So feisty.
Really railing against that Ice Cool.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. It's just
It's nothing about
just a
Ice
game
Cool.
about it's a penguin school, man.
Exactly. It doesn't need 7 pages of fucking backstory.
Well, I
on the
appreciate
app
that they have cute little comics
Yeah.
at the front.
Yeah.
that you just spam click through.
Well, no, because we were trying. Yeah.
But how would I ever know that there's a penguin teacher with a nice hat?
Yeah. Yeah. We thought you would appreciate.
Why do you need to know that?
There isn't a need. There's a want.
Yeah.
You wanted to know more about the Ice Cool universe?
I didn't know that, but now I do.
Yeah. Why isn't he a character in the game?
Yeah, and now whenever they do the Ice Cool Legacy, he better be in there.
Is there an ice? There's not an Ice Cool Legacy, right?
It's really disturbing that the state of board gaming in 2018 is that you don't know whether that's a bullshit statement or not. Is there an Ice Cool Legacy?
Look, once
Can I flick my penguins off the board and they've now left the school and they're off the grid with no social security number?
No, what happens is you just launch them off a cliff, and now the rest of the game is the legal proceedings of you going to jail for murdering a penguin.
Penguin Court.
Yep, that's your legacy, Jeff. Penguin murder.
Anyway, that's the Dized app. It's on Kickstarter now. If it lives up to half of what it wants to do, I could see some use for it, especially like if the adaptive profiles really work out. It'd be really great if the adaptive profiles work out so well that when I go to like start playing a certain game, it'll be like, Adrian, walk the fuck away. This game is not for you. You're going to hate it. You're going to bitch about it.
It's not D&D, and it's not a train game. Walk away.
So they need to get.
You're not far from wrong.
Yeah, they need to make an D&D XX for him, and then he'll.
Yeah,
Dude,
where you RPG as a train stock buyer.
Yeah.
The 18XX I want to play the most. I can never remember the actual name of it, but it's basically 18XX Mordor, like Lord of the Rings 18XX. It's my dream.
Oh God.
High fantasy and a train game.
Yeah. That's hitting all my buttons.
It's like that one meme where it's the space captain. He doesn't know which button to
Yeah.
push. It's 18XX or high fantasy, and he's just like, ugh.
You got to pick one, Zach. You got to push one of those buttons.
Maybe it's just one
I'm
button.
just gonna.
Right on. That wraps up news and Kickstarter, so we can get over to some listener feedback. No emails this week. So Jeff doesn't get to say emails at milehighgameguys.com until the contact section of the show.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
It's almost like you set them up.
I
for
knew
that.
it was going to come. We did have, however, some feedback in a couple different areas. So over on Twitter, Craft Dragon, friend and fan of the show, who's messaged us over the years, had a bunch to say about our Arkham Horror review. First up, he says, listening to the review, a lot of these are corrections of where we fucked up. So buckle in. Listening to the review, Eldritch Horror has the no action can be repeated in the same round rule too. For all but one investigator, Marie Lambeau has the same trait as in Arkham Horror 3rd that allows you to take 2 of the same action, as well as Blessing/Cursed acts like in Elder Sign, kind of.
That's true. Multiple people told us that.
Yeah.
And as soon as they told us that, we're like, oh, right. It had just been a while since we had played Eldritch Horror, and I thought about making us play Eldritch Horror once, but I was like, I'd rather just play Arkham Horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in Elder Sign, it has the same. If you pass an adventure while cursed or fail an adventure while blessed, you lose the condition. However, blessed gives you another die you may use to fill in tasks, while cursed gives you a die that may eat other dice.
generally, I think Elder Sign runs
It's-
very
it
differently
is
than
yeah.
the other three. Where
It's more Yahtzee style if you're trying to
Yeah.
get certain symbols.
and those examples we were giving were ones that had blessing and cursing being very similar
Yes.
mechanically.
Rex doesn't start cursed in Elder Sign. And then he says, granted, that's more because if you get double cursed in Elder Sign, it's an insta-kill. So it's like the You Are Devoured cursed card from Eldritch Horror, and no one wants to get insta-killed by the first turn of the Mythos card from the first expansion.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Also, Adrian, there's a Cthulhu retheme of Kingsburg that I have. It's the most attempt of a story that I've seen for a Euro, as it was co-designed by an RPG writer. Though, since it's not FFG, it's more classic Mythos than it is AHF, Arkham Horror Files, or other modernizations.
That's a Kingsport Festival, which I had at one point. I don't know if I still do or not. But yeah, it's
I have not heard
Cthulhu
of it.
themed. So
And then he continues to follow up. Okay, I like my Cthulhu stuff. Both FFG Mythos and Old Mythos. And even this is a sanity drain on me. Yes, there is a Funko Pop Cthulhu cereal.
I did see that.
Which sucks because that store was also selling some wall art of Cthulhu getting his mugshot taken. Logistics of that aside, it was pretty funny. As another aside, the hearts and brains in Arkham Horror 3rd use the same die as Eldritch Horror, but the Arkham Horror 3rd ones have a 1 on the singles. So, yeah, a bunch of corrections for us for where we were wrong in trying to remember exactly where we had seen certain mechanics or symbols through Arkham Horror.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the clarifications, Craft Dragon.
Yes, thank you.
Clarification.
We also had a follow-up on the top 10 games that replaced other games over on BGG.
Yep.
Zach, you got that ready?
This is from Mark. Machikoro with the Harbor expansion greater or is better than Catan? Question mark. I'm imagining there's a scoff in between that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not particularly a fan of Catan, but I bought Machikoro, Bright Lights, Big City, because I love the art, and it was $8 on clearance.
Indeed it was.
My girlfriend and I played it for about 40 minutes before I called it quits after we felt like we had gone nowhere. Such a shame that the game is so boring, despite the awesome art.
Well, your mistake was playing Bright Lights and Big City, which has the second expansion in it,
I don't know.
the Millionaire's Row.
It might have it.
Because the Harbor expansion is where you end it, because the Millionaire's Row just drags. It just makes it's like, do you want to play this more and longer, but for no reason?
Except without Millionaire's Row, you don't have a counter to the Tuna Boat Mafia.
Yeah.
That just
and then the game
crushes
ends.
everything.
And then it's over.
Yeah, the Tuna Boat Mafia is like the best thing about it, though. Once you get on it, toot toot, it's...
But it adds in too much stuff where it's like, I'm going to take all your money.
Yeah.
I'm going to take all your money.
Mhm.
You don't get any money. It's
Yeah.
just too much. Take that.
But also, like you said, too, I am not a fan of Catan. Or I played it and I was like, it's fine. And so when I played Machikoro, I was like, it's fine. And
Yeah.
so, but I enjoyed its dice rolling and resource getting aspects more than Catan, hence why it was that. And also, I think that was on an honorable mention too. So
Wasn't on the straight up list.
yeah. So I'm definitely not saying it's up there, but it was a thing that got replaced, but then I wasn't that interested in either of them after a while. So
And then last up for listener feedback, last week, M showed up in Paulo's corner and threw down the gauntlet.
Yes.
And boy, has YouTube been filled with comments from those two. We start off with Paulo. Look back machine to the future. Awesome. Which when I first got that email, I was hanging out with Zach and I read that one to him. And he was like, yeah, that's definitely what you should have titled the episode. Look back machine to the future.
yep.
M then chimed in on that same episode. More Wes needed, which there was a lot of Wes praise in the Slack channel as well. Apparently the dulcet tones of
I think the two dulcet tones even.
yes.
Like TOO.
Yeah, excessive dulcet.
Yes.
Far more dulcet than needed. The back and forth continued with Paulo also chiming in that the sound was on this one was great. After he had pointed out that it was a little quiet on the One Wednesday episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then he follows up almost immediately. Didn't realize that there was an M invader on my corner. Thanks for letting me know. I've dealt with the problem. And then M pops in on the Arkham Horror episode. I really enjoyed this episode. I liked Eldritch Horror, but it was really fiddly, so I'm keen to give this a go. So, Paulo, there's still M showing up in your corner. And M, Paulo's coming for you. Better watch out. That wraps up all of the listener feedback.
Thank God.
If you would also like to get a hold of us, you have plenty of ways to do so. You can always send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can follow us on Twitter, where we're all pretty active. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys. And we have our BGG guild number 2731, where Zach posts the weekly episode posts, which cover both the Wednesday banter and bullshit episode and the Friday specific review. They're kind of all commingled into one general post.
Yeah.
So feel free to leave any feedback for either episode in that week's post over there. You can always support us over on Patreon, patreon.com/milehighgameguys. Remember, if you give $1, you get roasted automatically. If you give more than $1, let us know if you want to get roasted.
Boom, roasted.
Jeff is happy to roast anyone. It's like chestnuts. Just throw them on an open fire.
Have you ever had a roasted chestnut?
I have not.
Neither have I.
I don't think anybody has since like the 1920s when that song was written.
It's all they could afford to eat back then.
Microwaves came around and people were like, roasting shit over an open fire? Fuck that.
Fuck that.
For those of you interested in D&D things, I'm going to keep occasionally plugging away. Tomorrow on Thursday is the release of episode 5 of the Mile High Dungeon Delvers. It is on its own feed now, though, so you have to go subscribe to it specifically on whatever your podcast subscription service of choice is. That wraps all of that up. As always, our Wednesday episodes are sponsored by Gray Fox Games. Stay tuned in January for their next Kickstarter, War of the Worlds.
The New Wave.
The New Wave. Jeff, you've been looking at this a little bit. I've heard it described as Clank plus dudes on a map.
So it's a 2-player, asymmetrical deck building game.
Okay.
I'm excited.
I'm ready for that, yeah.
So it's set in like World War I era, so it's got like World War I era tanks and stuff.
Hopefully it's not as depressing as other World War I era games.
We'll see. But it's all of the UK is the map, and it's, you know, the War of the Worlds walkers kind of smashing stuff around. So it starts like the aliens start in Scotland, and then it's sort of Great Britain trying to keep them back.
Right on. We'll have, I'm sure, more information about that as the Kickstarter approaches. So, Jeff, do you have a prepared statement, perhaps, to go along with that look into War of the Worlds?
As is tradition. Gray Fox Games, quality games cleverly crafted. Also, it doesn't feel right to shoot an unarmed man, but I'll get over it.
Jeff, okay with murder, as always. That wraps everything up. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to catch us on Friday when we review City of Gears from, again, our sponsors, Gray Fox Games. And then it'll be Christmas week. So, you know, hope everybody has a good Christmas. And we'll have episodes out that whole week. So, you know, we'll be there with you through the holidays.
Yep.
We will help get you through awkward family get-togethers.
By putting in some helping you put in headphones and ignore them for upwards of 2 hours.
Yeah, we'll make sure they're extra long.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening in. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Shattered Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.